You know, so many different groups have given a message. You know, and they say, broadly speaking, there's a message to their group. So I wanted to be more specific to begin with, and then expand outward. This is a message to the purple woman. Look, it's 2022. Everyone knows this year it's very difficult. It doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just difficult. Now, it's really difficult because of some errors that I wouldn't say is uniquely the fault of the purple woman. Because you have to understand that there's other entities and factors in play. Purple women don't control the system as a whole. They just don't. This is a very patriarchal system. So black women, white women, indigenous women, no women control the system on this planet. It's very patriarchal. So I wanted to start there in terms of solidarity. If I was doing a letter grade and I was doing a deep analysis of all purple women throughout recent history, throughout recent her story, and by that I mean maybe 2, 3, 4 centuries back, it's been very complicated, the history, the history of this. On the one hand, you've had purple women have great achievements, do great things to modernize our system. And on the other hand, you've had, well, kind of a lack of solidarity. So, I wouldn't say it's a mixed bag. I would just say it is what it is. But I like to talk about the present because that impacts the future. You can't do anything about the past. I just want people to know this. Because sometimes people dwell on the past. Yes, the past is insightful, but you need to focus more on the present. There has to be a greater onus on solidarity with purple women. You go out to Los Angeles. I give this as an example. The music industry. A lot of singers and musicians struggle. A lot of people say, well, musicians and singers, when they make it big in the industry, they make a lot of money. Don't you know purple people's out? Yes, but this is a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage of all the musicians. There's a lot of struggling artists. We all know this. Every famous musician or artist at one point in time was a struggling musician or artist. This is a fact. One thing that I've never really too much cared for is this idea of fuck everyone else. I've made it. You know, I get it. Musicians are struggling for a reason. Nobody, for the most part, bumps them when they're out struggling to sell their music, their art. think that family members would be supportive, but they're not. Family is the least supportive in a lot of cases when it comes to musicians and artists. So you're struggling maybe for years and years and years to make it. And then you finally have 1 or 2 hits. And then you're like, well, because nobody helped me, fuck all the other people down there. No. We gotta change that up. We gotta, provide opportunities for at least our purple women. Everybody else is gonna have to get on board and do what they do. And that's fine. But if there's a young purple artist out there and you've made it big time, it's on you to reach down, give out your hand, and pull them up. Maybe not to where you are at the moment, but you don't have to wait. Here's what I'm trying to say with this. A lot of artists will wait till an up-and-coming artist has hit some big lick, and then they'll want to be on their track. They'll want to sing a duet with them or want to make a music video with them. You hear quality music. You know quality music. If someone is making quality music even before they have a hit, you can collaborate with them. For all you know, this might be the first time that they're being introduced to a wider audience. You take Doja Cat, for instance. Doja Cat was out there for years. Years. And then she became famous. But there were artists that knew about Doja Cat that could have collaborated with her. But they don't. They don't reach down. And that's gotta change. At least for us. You know, the next area is one that I think everyone could use some help in. But especially purple women. Investment. Okay, now this is a little tricky. Everybody pumps in your head. Invest in this. Invest in that. Invest in this new great thing. Invest in this new great thing. Look at this company. It's great. Invest here. Invest there. Look at this person. Invest with them. Look at this training. Invest in this training. Pause. Pause. Full stop. Firstly, I want to say this. It's nothing wrong with investing in something else. But take it from me and all the old people that tell you this, because it's really good advice. The best investment you'll ever make is in yourself. All of these people that tell you to invest in their thing, their new great thing, what do they say? It's a startup. So, literally, they're telling you that they started up something. They took the time to invest in themselves to start something up. And now they want you to give them your money to help them become richer. You gotta invest in yourself. The greatest investment, purple women, is in you. Don't let anybody stop you from doing what you want to do. That's another thing too. If you've got dead weight, and I'll define that in one momento. If you've got dead weight, cut it loose this year. Let it go. Like Frozen, let it go. Say, for instance, you want to become a dentist. And you've looked. I'm just giving this as an example. You've looked. The best dentistry school is out of state. And you've been with your high school sweetheart. And they don't want you to go out of state. You have to be with them. I'm sorry. If the person you're with is not a supporter of your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, you gotta cut the dead weight. Do you know that's why so many people end up miserable, sad, depressed? Because they didn't do what they really wanted to do. And you only have one life. You're not like a cat. You don't have 9. You have 1. And here it is, 10 years later. You're sitting there, maybe working a low-wage job. And you're arguing all the time with your boyfriend. And you're thinking to yourself, this person didn't even marry me. And I'm stuck in these low-wage jobs that I hate. And I didn't invest in myself to go to dentistry school and really be a dentist like I wanted to be. Don't get caught in that situation. So many people get caught in that situation. Look, whoever it is, it could be family, it could be your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever it is, if they're not down for what you want to do, you gotta cut the bastard loose. They gotta be on board with you. They gotta want to see you successful. If they don't want to see you successful, you can't call it a relationship. See, that's a real problem. A lot of people say they break up because of finances or because of adultery. No. This is why I don't do relationship advice. But I just want to be honest with you. The reason most people break up is not because of any of that shit. Even though they tell you it is. No. The reason most people break up is because one person wants to do themselves and the other person wants to do themselves. And then the argument becomes, well, only one of us can do the thing that we really want to do. And usually the male in the relationship, if it's heterosexual, tries to bogart and intimidate the woman into doing, well, what he wants her to do. And generally that's usually stay at home, don't work, and let me pursue my career, my ambitions. This is deeply misogynistic, and it also limits a lot of potential for creativity in our system. So we can't allow this bullshit anymore. You gotta do you. Cut the dead weight. That's why a lot of relationships don't work. A lot of relationships. Even those that do stay together. You'll find that that's a common pattern That's why people get to arguing. And there's so much misery in the relationship. The best relationships are when two people in the relationship are both doing the things they both enjoy and want to do. They're both allowing each other to do those things. You'll have a purple woman. And she's doing edibles. And she's not getting any traction. But she's continuing to do her edible business. And you're in a relationship with her. And you're like, oh, nobody ever buys that shit. Why are you always in here cooking that shit? Tell that motherfucker, pack your bags and get the fuck out. And then, if the motherfucker asks you, what did you just say? You repeat it. Pack your bags and get the fuck out. Because I'm doing this. I don't give a fuck about you. The number one thing, purple women, listen to me. The number one thing every group needs, but especially purple women, is to have a committed partner that's going to be ride or die. If you're not in this, if you're not a real one, you gotta go. You gotta pack your bags and go, because you're dead weight and you're gonna drag me down. First off, you're putting negative energy into the universe by saying that I'm not going to be successful. Never accept someone diminishing your capabilities, no matter who the fuck it is. So many people don't pursue what they want to do because they listen to negative friends. Leads me to my next category, friends and mental health. Do you know that mental health is skyrocketing in Western nations? Western nations. I said that for a reason. There's purple women all over. I'm talking specifically about Western nations right now. And do you know the number one reason why mental health is skyrocketing in Western nations? Because of the circle of friends. They say it's social media. But social media is all about followers and friends, right? You gotta limit your friend circle group this year. If you have to, cut all of them out. And the ones that really want to be your friend will reach out to you. If they don't want to be your friend, then that's fine. You're better off on your own. I guarantee you of this. A lot of people say they're friends, but they're negative. They bring you down. You're dead weight. And then, well, if you have friends that are not acting friendly, are they really your friend? Case in point. Say, for instance, you have really good friends. You always do really cool things with your friends. But you're the one putting all the effort into this friendship. The other bums don't do jack shit. And they're like, oh, we really enjoy when we hang out with you. I know you do. Because here's the thing. They're taking advantage of you. Now, It's okay to be the life of the party. But I would be like, wait a minute. Nothing's free in this life. You don't do jack shit. I'm doing all the shit. So of course you like being friends. Because all the benefits are going to you. And see, that's okay in good times. But what about in bad times? Say for instance you fall on some tough economic and financial situation. And you've done all this shit over the years for friends. And then you say, well, I need a favor. I need to borrow something from you. And they're like, well, I'm sorry. I just don't have it. Now bear in mind, you've done all this shit for these friends for years. And all of a sudden, they don't have anything. You take the R out of friend and you get a fiend. A lot of people are realizing that their supposed and so-called friends weren't really friends at all. And that's why they're cutting people off. You need to cut more people off this year. The last few that you're, well, scratching your head and wondering if you should or if you shouldn't. If you have, let me just say this as a barometer of how you judge this. If you have to question whether you should keep connected with a friend or not, that person has never been your friend. Cut them off this year. Your mental health will increase substantially. They talk about social media. But who do you go and spy on social media? Your friends. And they'll be the most negative. And so you don't see them in real life, but you see them in social media. And that's wear and tear on your mental health. Get rid of anything that's detrimental to your mental health. Really, you gotta take care of your mental health this year. If you need to get rid of social media, get rid of it. If you need to get rid of some friends that you see in the real world, get rid of them. If your parents are draining you emotionally, get rid of them. You gotta get rid of the dead weight. That's huge. And my last really focal point is this. Be very weary of this new rise in cult personality. You know, it's a Western thing. It goes way, way, way back. Cult of personality. And usually it's dictated by men. You look at the former president, the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago. He has a large following, a cult. But it's purely because of cult of personality. And you see this in religion all the time. You see it in all industries and aspects in our society. They'll tell you this person, and they'll keep pushing a name, a person's name on you. Now, purple women, of all people, you should know this is witchcraft. Now, witchcraft is up to the individual to determine whether it's good or bad. I don't really focus on the good or bad realm. But this is witchcraft. When you constantly chant someone else's name, whether it's in a positive light or negative light, this is giving that person energy, because you're spending your energy focusing on that individual. A lot of the Western society mechanism works off a code of personality. It used to not be so much on individuals as much as it was on institutions, like the church, like the mosque, like the synagogue. But now we've moved to a realm where it's personality, because our institutions, well, no one sees legitimacy in them. For variously good reasons, I might add. But the individuals who you're chanting up, you should probably know they were part of the institutions that got us to this point. You notice most of the people that get chanted up in our society, especially in the Western society, are males. You very rarely will have in Western society people constantly chant a female or a woman's name. And when they do it, it's always to the detriment, in the negative. So it's rooted deeply in misogyny. You know, there's an associate judge of the court, highest court here, the Supreme Court. And he said that abortion is not deeply rooted in our nation's history. Yes, it is, would be my response to this. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let's take the first one, life. If you're pregnant and your doctor tells you if you are to carry this child to term, the child will have severe complications. And plus, you will have severe complications. Complications that, well, you might not survive. Life. You have the right to your life. Let's take the second one, liberty. You can't say that people have liberty, but they don't have choice. The two are sort of kind of mutually interlinked. You would think that they would have taught this at an institution that he graduated from. And then they say, well, you don't have a right to murder. You don't have the liberty to murder. Well, it's against the law. This is true. But don't or haven't millions of people on this planet murdered someone or something? So to say you don't have a right, even if you constitute abortion as murder, which I don't, but to say you don't have a right to murder, it's not factually accurate, seeing as humans have murdered probably billions at this point of their own fellow species, and countless billions of other species on the planet. So what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know. Go ask that clown that wrote that shit. So we got life, liberty, and now the pursuit of happiness. I don't know how you can be happy if you've been raped by your son or if you've been raped by your father. I'm being realistic here, and you're forced to carry a child to term. I'm going to think that the pursuit of happiness might diminish a little bit. Just a wee bit. I don't know how you have the right to the pursuit of happiness if your physician says, ma'am, you're 3 times more likely to die if you deliver this child. You can't be happy if you're no longer here. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those things are deeply rooted in our nation's history, I think. You go ask that clown. Tell him I told you to. We can't get tied into these codes. Please don't. It's going to be detrimental to you, to your mental health, to your physical health. It's going to be detrimental all the ways around. Look at how many people got tied into Christianity, Islam, Judaism. Look at how many people have been assaulted, harmed, murdered as a result of cults, being tied into something. And then what do? All the cults, they have different little things that you need to do. If you're a Muslim, they say you gotta pray 5 times a day. You don't think I know about religion. I know about all of these religions. If you're a Muslim, you have to pray 5 times a day to their deity. Now, I don't know about you, but that's really goofy. I'm not talking about the people who practice the religion. I'm talking about the aspects that the cult tells you are necessary in order to be a member of their cult. That's kind of goofy that you have to pray 5 times a day. I'm like, I'm busy. I'm really busy. What kind of entity or deity would make me stop and do what I need to do every day, 5 times in a day, to give praise to this thing? And then, if you're a really bad Muslim, if you miss the 5 prayers. One Muslim woman was telling me that she would make 2 of these prayers a day because that's all she really had time for. She felt really bad about it. And she said that other Muslims would consider her to be a bad Muslim because she doesn't pray 5 times. She only does it 2. I said, well, that's more than me. I do it 0. But then she said, you're not a Muslim. I said, that's my point. So how does you, being a Muslim, and you only pray 2 times, and I do nothing, I do 0, make you worse than me? She had to stop and think because nobody had ever asked her this. Then she said, well, you're going to hell. And I said, okay, where are you going? Because you only pray 2 times a day. And the other Muslims who pray 5 say you're a bad Muslim. So you're going with me, right? We're both going to hell, right? Again, she had to stop and think. And she had no answer. She's like, I don't want to go to the place you're going. And I said, I don't want to go to the place you're going. Because if you think that I'm going to stop and pray 5 times, I don't want to be up there doing that goofy shit. I want to do fun things. We had a good laugh. You know, this kind of shit is dangerous. It causes nothing but division. And our strength is through unity. As purple women, our strength is through unity, not division. You can be a Muslim, you can be a Christian, you can be Jewish, you can be agnostic. I don't give a fuck. You can be Buddhist. But don't start telling other people where they're going. I see this all the time, especially from men. They'll have these signs that say which groups are going to hell. And of course, I'm always in all of those groups. I'm a member of all the groups that are going to hell. So I usually, when I see this individual or these individuals holding the sign of all the names of the groups going to hell, I usually stop and wave and give the thumbs up. And then they say, oh, repent, repent. And then I say, well, wait a minute. It's too late for me. I'm a part of the LGBTQ plus community. I'm definitely a sinner. A lot of people think that I'm a Satanist. I'm definitely a pussy. I'm definitely a feminist. I'm definitely queer. So it's too late. I'm going to hell. It's okay. We're both good. And then they're like, well, you're going to hell. And I say, that's good. At least I'm not going to the same place as you. I don't want to go to the same place as the person that's telling me I'm going to hell. Do you know why? Because, firstly, why would I want to go to the same place as someone who already thinks I'm evil? If you think you're so great, how come they don't ever say so? You know, all the people that tell you everybody else is going to hell, you would think, wouldn't they be happy to have a sign that says they're going to heaven? I say, okay, my name is on the list of people going to hell. Can I see the list? What for? So I can find your name on the list of people going to heaven. Because you certainly already know I'm going to hell. So I want to see your name on the list of people who's going to heaven. I want to be in the opposite place of the people who are the most negative. So if they're going to heaven, I most certainly want to go to hell. I tell them this. If you're going to heaven, I want to be in hell. If you're going to hell, I want to be in heaven. Why is that, they say? Because I don't want to be anywhere near you. So wherever you're going, I want to go to the opposite place. Because it's got to be much better than the place where you're going. Don't let them shame you or judge you or blame you. This is mental tools that these cults use to make you feel bad and to really have you do subliminal messaging, force you to belong to their cult. Because the bullshit that they claim to believe in really doesn't hold any weight. So the greatest recruitment tool, and that's what cults are, they're nothing but recruitment centers. The greatest recruitment tool they have It's judgment, shame, and blame. Be bigger and be better. Ditch all of that cult shit. You can be part of something, but don't give your whole self to anything, no matter what it is. Don't give your whole entire energy to any one singular thing. That's dangerous and it's detrimental. They'll say, well, what about Christ? What about some of our greats like Martin Luther King? What about Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Desmond Tutu, Buddha, the Dalai Lama? What about our greats? Did they tell you to give their whole self to them? No, they never said this shit. Because if they had said that shit, they know that that would have been a violation to the Universal Mother. So what other people who belong to those cults come and tell you is that you must give your whole self to those individuals. But those individuals told you you are great. You alone made those individuals great. Those individuals would not have been great without your support. You know, PBS says, without viewers like you, we couldn't make this happen. If Christ didn't have the 12 disciples, Christ wouldn't have been great. If Buddha didn't have the meditation and the wisdom, Buddha wouldn't have been great. So all of this nonsense about people telling you you have to give your whole self to something. You tell them you're great. You hail yourself. You say you're God and Goddess. You're Lord and Lordess. Stop letting people dupe you and fool you. Anybody can be purple because everybody can be great. And the greatest thing is really the end of division, and that's being purple. Will everyone be purple? No, of course not. So many are tribal and rooted in dangerous old world thinking. We have to do better. And we have to be better. Do what you can with what you have. And don't let anybody shame you. People will come along and try to shame you for not having much. Look, you overpaid for shit that you have to begin with. Look at Twitter. The deal is on hold. I think that they were offering to pay $54.20 a share. And now the stock is worth 40 something, right? Don't put all of your energy in materialism, in capitalism. Because capitalism is a snake. It'll turn around and bite you. And you'll be poisoned. Put your energy in yourself. You gotta motivate and encourage yourself. You're your own greatest cheerleader. Fuck all this noise about, oh, I need a lot of people to cheer me on. No. Usually it's like you have one or two good cheerleaders. And that's it. And you harness those one or two individuals. You might have one person that really sees potential in you. You harness that one person, and you'll go further than a billion others. All of these people saying, I have 1,000,000 friends. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because I guarantee you, if you went and asked all those millions of people for $1, not a one of them would give them $1. In reality, you only really maybe have 1 or 2 good friends or cheerleaders. Stick with the people who are going to stick with you. Try to avoid cults. And don't let anybody shame, blame, or judge you. Because the people that are shaming, blaming, and judging you can never tell you about themselves. They are always ready to shame, blame, and judge. But you go to ask them about themselves. And it's like mum's the word. It's crickets. The cat has got their tongue. We have to be inclusive. You know, all the other messages to the other people. Look at the KKK. Is that a message to the Anglo-Saxon race? The Ku Klux Klan? Because they say it is. But we know all Anglo-Saxons don't fuck with the Ku Klux Klan. So that's not a message for everyone. It's not universal. Because there are things and stipulations that are unreasonable and unsustainable. Then you look at things like the Nation of Islam. I'm familiar with this. In order to be in the Nation of Islam, you have to be a Muslim. So it's not universal to everyone. There's no stipulations like there is in all the rest of these codes. Because it's all about you as a purple woman. There's no judgment. Oh, say you're a purple woman and you're in the nation. You're a Christian. You're Jewish. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to blame you. Because of whatever identity you're in, at the end of the day, you're still purple. I don't say, oh, you can't be this and be purple. All the rest of them tell you, you can't even look at this or else you're going to hell. No. There's none of that over here. We've really got to focus on unity and mental health. Food is another thing that's very important. Health. If you don't have health, you have nothing else. Health is very important. You know, I was thinking about this. Millennials used to get scoffed and ridiculed for avocado and toast. And millennials, you also killed a lot of things. But you didn't finish killing meat. Not as a generation. Because you still eat meat. You know, you'll hear Gen Z and millennials say, okay, boomer. But I'm like, you still have the boomer diet. Some of you fuckers, a lot of you fuckers, are still eating Jimmy Dean, just like your parents were. You're still eating Tyson chicken strips, just like your parents were. You're still drinking milk and eating cheese. And yet, you're concerned about global climate change. Now, you know how much water consumption it takes to produce just a tiny bit of cheese. Look it up. It's hundreds of millions of gallons just to produce a tiny bit of cheese. We're going to have water shortages very, very soon, if not already, because of our unsustainable practices. Look, if you weren't a vegan in 1984, understandable. If you weren't a vegan in 1997, understandable. If you weren't a vegan in 2003, understandable. If you weren't a vegan in 2011, understandable. If you weren't a vegan in 2019, understandable. Look here, if you weren't a vegan after 2020, you're on some fuck shit at this point. I mean, all the research and data is in. You can't say, okay, boomer, and still have your boomer diet. You're still eating like your grandparents and your parents. Now, I don't want to shame and blame. But when it comes to our health, that's the only time I'm going to make some exceptions. Because there's a lot of factors that go into this. You know, when we were saying Black Lives Matter, and all the conservative were saying all lives matter, I'm like, the fuck they do. You just drove through the McDonald's and Burger King and ordered a big Whopper and a Big Mac. So that cow's life did not matter in the slaughterhouse. So shut the fuck up. Also, all the data is in. You know that animals can contract COVID just like humans. You know that they have to vaccinate all of the meat. You're eating multiple vaccines. Okay? Just so you know. Because maybe some people can't connect the dots. I don't know. Look at all of the risks and health factors. Cancer, diabetes, just to name a few. All of that is as a result of bad health. Because of diet. And we all know this at this point. Look, KFC had the vegan nuggets. And they were really good. And then they took it out of their store. And I'm like, look at these bastards. Knowing that those vegan nuggets are good. They were very popular too. And then you go back and they're just gone. Well, you should stop supporting KFC. Stop eating that chicken. You're eating poison. I just want you to know. Stop eating it. Stop trying to kill yourself. More avocado. Less meat. No meat. Really, in 2022, it should be no meat. You've had 2 years. Come on, we've got to be the driving factor in this. Purple women. This vegan movement, you talk about wealth and how to create wealth. Everybody wants to live and be healthy while they're living. I think if you took a poll and you asked people, whilst you're living, would you prefer to be healthy or sick? I don't think anybody, well, I shouldn't say this, someone might. But 9 out of 10 people are going to raise their hand and say they'd rather be healthy than sick. Vegan is the way to go. We all know vegan is it. So if you get in on veganism, you open vegan restaurants, you create vegan cookies, vegan cookbooks, vegan content, you know it's a wrap. You're going to make the money. You're going to make the dinero, the peso, the yuan. You're going to make it. Because everybody needs to get healthy. Fuck all this noise about we're healthy. When you've got 56-year-old social media personalities dropping dead, you know we're not a healthy society as a whole. I'm not talking about one country or one group. I'm talking about as a whole. You gotta pump it out and push it out. Plant-based, plant-based. Vegan sounds too way out, like some space creature. Tell them they gotta eat plants, like Brontosaurus. You know, all the big dinosaurs were herbivores. They weren't carnivores. The carnivore dinosaurs were the flying ones, like the vulture, the eagle, the ones that lived on the land. They ate plants. You don't fly in the sky. You're not expending all of that energy like a bird. You need to eat plants. You look at all of the big creatures in the wild. Gorillas, elephants, zebras. Fuck all this pseudo junk science that these crazy lunatics tell you. Oh, you need a certain amount of meat. I would tell them, why doesn't the gorilla, who weighs 7 times more than I do, why doesn't this big ass creature need meat? Have you seen an elephant? Okay. Do you know that the elephant doesn't eat meat? So if this big ass creature, who's older than most of us, if this big ass creature doesn't need meat, You're telling me my little tiny ass needs meat. You stop listening to these people. We gotta bump plant-based real hard. That's it. That's a lick. Purple people, purple women, that's a lick. You corner that market, you're going to be rich. Every last purple woman will be rich. Richer than rich. Because it's about our health. And if you don't have your health, you won't make wealth. Health makes wealth. Wealth doesn't make health. You see all of these individuals with a lot of money, and they're sick. One of you out here is really big into vegan. You're a young purple woman. I know a bunch of you, but I'm just using this as an example. You reach out to one of these big entertainers who you know is sick. You say, look, tell you what I'm going to do. I'll be your personal chef. I know you can afford to pay me, fucker. I'm going to provide you with the best tasting, nutritious food on this planet. You hire me for a year or 2 years, contract. You hire me. I cook for you. You're going to feel so much better after that year that you're probably going to say, look here. You're in that kitchen forever. Don't ever stop pumping out this good food for me. And I'm going to pay you even more. Because I don't want anybody else to grab you and snag you up. That's a market. There's so many purple girls, purple women on social media putting out vegan content. I'm telling you, reach out to a lot of these individuals who have money, who you know are sick, who aren't vegan. A lot of people with money are vegan, but a lot aren't. You reach out, you tell them, partner with me, 2-year contract. If after 2 years you don't feel any better, you're still sick, and I've been feeding you all this good food, you can fire me and go back to eating all the bad food. This is a simple win-win solution. You can't lose with this. Because I guarantee you that fucker is going to start feeling better. This is a lick. This is a quick lick. And this is a well-paying lick. I'm putting you up on game here. I'm telling you, I know. Nobody else is going to tell you this shit. Oh, this is the most universal, basic messaging ever. I don't say you have to follow me. I don't do any of that shit. Because it's not a prerequisite. I don't do cults. And I don't like people doing cults around me. Anybody ever tell you, oh, the purple people's house said worship? No. Bullshit. Never said it. They are a liar. I don't do cults. None of that shit. I want you to do you. You hail yourself. You say you're great. And then you'll be great. Thank you.